talk about the outside agitators. Regardless of what happens here in Ferguson or St. Louis or our region, they're going to go home back to their cities. And if they're simply here to agitate, to empower themselves through the action of other people, that's very inappropriate.
There is still no imminent word on when the grand jury will announce its decision in the police shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, which means since last week, the city of Ferguson has been on a razor's edge of concern about what will happen if the officer in question is not indicted for a crime. But this is much more than a local issue. Major cities are gearing up for what they know will be the reaction hundreds and thousands of miles away from zero point in this story, amid wonder where the peacemakers are when they really need them. Pleasure to welcome back to MidPoint, activist, political commentator, host of the Wayne Dupree Show, the news ninja. Wayne Dupree joins us. How you doing, Ninja?
Thank you for having me back. Glad to be here.
Always a pleasure. Good question here with regard to Ferguson. When the initial incident happened, we saw Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and many others go to Ferguson. They riled them up, they got people upset, and in many minds, they created part of the problem. Now, here we are getting ready for a grand jury decision that will come at any day. And correct me if I'm wrong, we do not see the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons, and others speaking out, telling people not only in Ferguson but across the country, calm down, don't do anything stupid. Why are they missing?
Well, they've done what they're supposed to do. They have already laid that seed of hate. They've already laid the protest seed, and they've reached out to the youth, and instead of the youth looking for jobs right now, the youth are laying in the streets as of yesterday, you know, with this little protest thing. I was in Ferguson a couple of weeks ago. These are not townspeople. These are outside agitators. These are people that are coming in whenever they get any money. They're coming in and sitting down and trying to make something out of that. Listen, this is a local issue that, just like you said, has been taken national by these poverty pimps in Jackson and Sharpton, and even Obama talked to some of these activists too, from what I heard. So I mean, the town needs peace. The town needs peace. The town needs people to go in there and say, okay, fine, we know what happened, but we need to build this town back up.
Then why isn't that happening, Wayne? Why isn't somebody saying something to do that?
Well, I mean, you know what? There are people there, even in the town. When we were there a couple of weeks ago, there were groups of people that lived in the city that would be under a tent, and they were praying. They prayed for like 21, 22 days that the national media never even saw. The problem is that there's so many people outside that are coming in. I mean, so many that are coming in with bad intentions. And honestly, I was only there for maybe a day and a half. But when I was there, it seemed like everything was calm. Now, I'm not saying that I had any power or whatnot, and I don't, but everything was calm. And then right after we left, everything started ramping back up again.
Well, Wayne, here's part of the issue here, and this comes from a New York Times article over the weekend. And I quote, organizers are outlining rules of engagement for dealing with the police, circulating long lists of equipment, including bandages and shatterproof goggles, and establishing safe spaces where protesters can escape the cold or the tear gas. Please excuse me if I'm oversimplifying things here, but what happens if you just stay home?
It's a game. It's a game to them, seriously. And the reason why I say it's a game to them is because they think that this is like a war type of deal. They think that they're really going to get something out of this. They don't know what the verdict's going to be. They don't know how it's going to come down. But like you said, they're in all these other cities, and it's all because the so-called leaders, the so-called representatives of peace went in there and stirred the pot. And what they left there was mush. They left a sea of hate, and they're going against the people. They're going against the police. They're going against justice. They say they want justice. They don't want justice. They want blood. They're bloodthirsty.
Isn't part of the problem here not even necessarily what's going on in this one case, But if you look around Ferguson, parts of St. Louis, other places where you live, Baltimore, Maryland, inner cities have been allowed to die in many cases.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
rampant unemployment. It's horrible living conditions. It's the governments there who have failed miserably to take care of their residents. And not only that, in many cases, it's the residents themselves who have failed to get out, vote, become activists in peacetime, and make things happen to the community. Am I right, or am I just blowing smoke here?
I'm glad that you said that. And for those out there that are watching this, that might think that I'm a sellout, I'm not a sellout. These things are true. The liberal agenda has put a lot of these minorities in these little groups and put them in cities and left them there without any way of working things out. Programs that really don't even work. They've been throwing money at little minor money at these communities, but have basically left the communities alone. And just because we speak out or just because we say something, we're called sellouts. No, I tell you who the sellouts are. The sellouts are these leaders, that so-called leaders, these people that go in here and think that they are helping, but they really aren't.
Do you consider yourself then insulted when some people look at a guy like you and say, you are a sellout, you're an Uncle Tom? That's the cause that a lot of people use, and that's the insult they throw at you because they said you are not doing what is right for Black America.
You know what, Ed, being in the military, coming from a family that cared about the United States of America, I hear those things, and they used to get me. They don't get me anymore because I know where I am. I know deep down in my heart that this country afforded me a whole lot of opportunities, and I've taken it up and I'm using them. When you look at Ferguson, and I've tried to get this message out to them.
15 seconds, Wayne. 15 seconds.
I've tried to get this message out to them many times. I'm not afraid of the police. I'm not afraid of doing the right thing, and they shouldn't either. Start building the city back up and stop trying to tear it down.
Wayne Dupree, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. The News Ninja delivers once again. Be good, my friend. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Short time out. We return with at least one person who is not about to hand over the Republican presidential nomination to Scott Walker. And at 51 minutes after the hour, Mitt Romney, candidate, the Sunday Showdown.